People often will ask, and I think it's just that morbid curiosity, right? They ask, what's the worst call you've ever been on? And my answer is you don't want to know.
The Call. So it's a really important documentary because it's something that's not talked about. My father worked in policing, in forensics, and he always mentions that nobody would talk about their mental health. He would go to some pretty horrific crime scenes, and one time one was for a friend. And when he said, I don't think I want to work that one, his boss said, what's the big deal? And he said he went to a therapist one time and one time only for one session because that's all they did. And there was a lot of stigma around that. So, for people in active lines of duty who see pretty traumatic things, there's this culture of just suck it up, be a man. But what happens when it weighs too heavy on your heart? And how can we look after one another? And I think there's something really lovely about this piece because it felt very authentic and easy, and the subjects were talking as if they're talking to a good friend. I felt very welcomed into the fold, even getting a tour of the place, hearing these stories, the honesty and the openness in which they shared with us. I felt was important for anybody watching this who isn't aware, or for people in these jobs to know that they're not alone. So I thought the pacing was really good. There's something very relaxed and honest about it. Nice layers between sharing about the job from different perspectives and also about these hard-hitting moments where you realize you're not the same. So I think this is a really important piece, and thank you for sharing.
The call will certainly make you want to reach out to the firefighters in your community and say thank you, even if they might have not necessarily ever served you directly. They certainly serve your community each and every day and have no doubt impacted someone you know, even if you might not be aware of it. It is incredibly sad to hear this statistic regarding the suicide rates in firefighters. I was not aware of it. So that startling statistic that's given right at the beginning really puts everything into perspective about some of these conversations that we're about to hear from these firefighters, and what heartbreaking stories so many of them are. We need to do whatever we can as communities to help lower these rates. While their job will always be dangerous and to a certain extent perilous, there are certainly things we can do to help them deal with all of that and lower these rates of suicide.
The Call breaks down a very complex, beautiful duality of a situation. Here we have firefighters who essentially meet people at their very worst day. And this is something that they are conditioned to handle and to be able to operate and be able to do great things. But what comes with that is this other side of not every day is going to be this heroic action. There are going to be moments of loss. There are going to be moments of suffrage. And within that, this person has to balance those emotions and be able to navigate them. We get this breakdown of trauma and how it lives in the body and what happens when the mind is infected and takes over. We see these firefighters struggle and have real emotion and conversations with each other and find these little ways to be able to help, whether it's speaking on the behalf of someone they have lost in the line of fire, or a loss that has impacted them so much that it has had a transition in trajectory of their career. We get to see how they have these little hobbies and able to cope with what's going on in front of them, whether it be making bracelets. And so we get to have these conversations with these men as we sit down and have these heavy conversations. We get to talk about suicide. We get to talk about how it has impacted, people who have not only struggled with the ideations and the sense of darkness and having to pull themselves out, but also what it's like to be a survivor of suicide loss. They have shared this common connection of losing someone that they have known in their squad. And this leads them on this path to connect and share and expand within their community so that they can do the preventative work that is necessary to keep the foundations of life continuing forward.
This film was called The Call. Wow, what an emotional roller coaster. This is a vitally important film. It's amazing to hear how much firefighters are now being offered in terms of their mental health. It's such an emotionally difficult job. The people involved in this film should be commended for work to help colleagues who might be tempted to die of suicide. Lots of interesting interview clips with mental health professionals. There's obviously a big need for this. Lots of gorgeous drone shots of the surrounding area in New Mexico. I was also interested to see inside a fire truck and the many areas of a fire station. The moving musical soundtrack under the action was perfect. Great job. The Call. Check it out.